Everybody, Gunnison Undercover here. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. And it's cold again in New Jersey. It's in the lower 40s, cloudy all over the place. So we got a story here on NJ.com. And it reads, New Jersey lawmakers vote to create training program to prevent cop suicides. And there's the story right there. So let's read this and find out what it has to say. It says, New Jersey lawmakers approved a bill Monday establishing a training program to prevent cop suicides. The proposal would also require police departments to report suicides. State senators approved it without a single no vote, 39-0, after the state assembly passed it in December, 77-0. The bill now heads to Governor Phil Murphy, who must sign or veto it by January 21st. Excuse me, I'm all clogged up here. The proposed training program, which would be available to every cop in the state, would flag causes, behaviors, warning signs, and risk factors. Officers would have to take the training every 5 years. Information would also be collected about officer suicides. New Jersey currently doesn't track how often they happen. Under the bill, departments would notify the state attorney general's office and include the officer's race, gender, seniority, veteran status, among other information through the name would be omitted. The data would be public. And it goes on here. I'll put the link in the description. You can go and read the whole story. So, I guess it is tragic that they're killing themselves. Suicide really is the #1 cause of officer death here in America now. It's not motor vehicle accidents. So they seem to be having a little problem on the job. And this is my thoughts on this. It's based on nothing. It's just me with an opinion. I think these officers, what happens, I want to say it's the good officers that are killing themselves. Imagine you think that you're going to get this job and you're going to protect and serve the community, because that seems to be the #1 propagandist idea, mind virus that's implanted in everybody's head, that they're out there protecting and serving us. So you get this job and you go out, and you think that you're going to be protecting and serving, and it turns out all you're doing is harassing, extorting, hurting, and escalating to get an arrest. And anybody with a good conscience, with empathy, would say to himself, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't want to get in this car and go ride around and jam people up and steal money from them on behalf of the government. Because that's essentially what police do in the area that I'm at. Residential areas, city might be a little bit different. But for the most part, they just ride around and harass people and steal money from them. And then occasionally they answer call. When they get to the call, they try to ramp it up so they can get the arrest. That way they get the overtime. Now, anybody with a good conscience who can sleep at night, knowing they did the right thing, would have a problem with it. I know I would have a problem with it. I would have a problem driving down the road, pulling people I don't know over and sticking it up their ass just so I can generate money for the town, because the town budgets $550,000 in fines, and if they don't get it, then the police department's got to go raise more money. I think that's why the cops are killing themselves. They just have a guilty conscience from doing what they're doing to people, which is not protecting and not serving. Now, I don't know what's so tough about the damn job. You sit in the car, you ride around all day long, you drink your coffee, you listen to radio. Every once in a while, you got to answer a call, and you're pulling people over. I mean, how difficult is that job? Now, granted, there are certain times in the job where you might have to get physical with somebody, but my experience, most of these cops are big guys, and big guys like physical contact with other guys. So I can't blame it on that, because you sign up for a job, it entails that kind of activity once in a while. And it also, nowadays people are not respecting these cops because they don't deserve any respect for the way a lot of them behave. And I guess that's frustrating for them. So, anyway, so that brings me on to the next story, because I always keep saying, well, why isn't there a garbage man suicide prevention program? Why isn't there a garbage man appreciation day? It seems like the cops are the ones that want the poor me. This is just another poor me story. Poor me, we're all killing ourselves. Now we need to get the training so we don't kill ourselves. Well, I'm going to go on to the next story here. Let me bring up the page. And top 10 deadliest jobs. I'm sure some of you have read this story before or heard this story. And I'll try to put the link in the description for it. So it's 10 deadliest jobs. And job number 1, the deadliest job, let's see, construction workers. That's dangerous equipment. So that's a dangerous job. It's in the top 10. With 18 deaths for every 100,000 full-time workers, construction worker is tied for last place on the list of 10 deadliest jobs. Next job, truck driver. Long hours behind the wheel. It says 18 deaths per 100,000 full-time workers. Industrial machine workers. 19 deaths for every 100,000 workers. Here we go. Garbage collector. It's a thankless job and a deadly one. In addition to working with big machines that crush anything and anyone that gets in the way, there are risks posed by hazardous materials and heavy traffic. Well, that's true, because I had heard a story about somebody who had put some garbage in the back of the truck, and as the machine was coming down to push it in, it popped some kind of bottle that had chemicals in it, and the chemicals shot out and hit the guy in the face. And it shows here that there's 25 deaths for every 100,000 full-time workers. Iron worker, 30 deaths per 100,000. Roofer, 35 fatalities per 100,000. Farmer, 39 deaths. Wow, 39 deaths for every 100,000. Pilots, 57 deaths per 100,000 workers. Logger, 62 for every 100,000. Fishermen, 200 fatalities per 100,000 people, workers. Well, if you hadn't noticed by now, the police are not in the top 10. I don't know where they rate. I could care less anyway. So they don't have the most difficult job in the world. They don't have the most dangerous job in the world. And the number one cause of their death is suicide. It's not the guy with a camera pointing at them. It's not the bank robber. It's not the angry wife coming at them with a kitchen knife. It's not any of those things. But they're killing themselves. And I just think it all has to do with guilt. What do you think? You think guilt is the reason they're killing themselves? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, people.